Hey, welcome to Dibs on Blue. My name is Stephanie, and this is my sign name. Today I want to show you how to play this game, Gloomhaven. The game publisher is Cephalofair Games. You can play with 1 to 4 players. I want to give you enough information to be able to dive right in and play the first time. I'm using the second printing of the rulebook, and I'll only be showing the first scenario. I don't want to show the full game and ruin anything since it should be a secret. Also, keep in mind that there are apps out there that can help you set up the game and make the gameplay run smoothly. I also use special inserts that aren't included in the game. So, in this game, players work together to fight monsters and complete objectives. You can play in campaign mode, using the scenario book, to play through a nice, cohesive storyline. As you play scenarios, you can have new experiences, which may allow you to open up new character boxes and envelopes, put stickers on the board, unlock locations, and unlock more scenarios. So you figure out what to do as you go along. The game will guide you. Or you can play in casual mode, which means that if you've already played a scenario or you've unlocked a scenario but didn't play it, you can play those, but the story will not progress. Every scenario explains the requirements to play the scenario, the goal of the scenario, and the story to read. If you successfully complete the scenario, then read the ending. You may earn things like new locations, achievements, and rewards. Each player can use a reference card for help during the game. To start, choose a character to play. The game has 6 starting characters to choose from. For example, Brute. Brute's my favorite. I always play him. During character creation, you need to receive 2 random personal quest cards. Read them and choose one to keep. And keep it a secret, then put the other one back. If you complete the personal quest, read the resulting reward and complete any actions on the card. Then your character retires. This means that your character cannot be used from now on. However, you may choose to create a new character of that same class. To play the game, you need your character's character board. It has your character's name, how many ability cards you're allowed to have, and where to put your ability cards once they're used in the discard, lose, or active sections, which you will see later. It also has a reference and your health based on your skill level. For example, at level 1, Brute has 10 health or hit points to start. You can use the dial to keep track of skill points and hit points. You need a standard attack modifier deck, which has 20 cards. Each deck is numbered, so decks don't get mixed together. Give a player deck number 1, another player deck number 2, and so on. You need your specific character's ability cards. Use level 1 cards when you start the game. As the game progresses, you will earn experience, making you stronger. As you become stronger, you can use more advanced ability cards. You can opt to use level X cards anytime, but for your first game, it's suggested you only use your level 1 cards. Put your character tokens near your character's area. Each character starts with 30 gold to spend and purchase items. The item shop starts with items 1 through 14. And as the game progresses, more items may become available to buy. The game suggests starting items for each character to use. For example, Brute is suggested to start with Boots of Striding and Minor Healing Potion. But you decide for yourself. Item cards have the reference number on the back, so they're easy to find. You're allowed to use 1 head item, 1 chest, 1 foot, 2 one-hand items, or 1 two-hand item. The number of small items you're allowed to have is equal to your character's level divided by 2, rounded up. For example, if your character is level 3, divided by 2 is 1.5. Rounded up, that's 2 small items you're allowed to have. Each item shows the item name, the number of the item, and how many of that item are available, the cost of the item, and the type of the item, like head, hand, etc. It also shows what to do when you're done using the item. It may want you to flip the card sideways to denote that it's used. You'll have to long rest to flip it upright and use it again, and I'll explain what long rest means later. Some cards allow you to use the item multiple times. You'll use your character token to keep track of each use. Some items have this symbol, which means that once you've used it, the item is flipped over. This means that the item is lost and cannot be used again in the scenario. You may use it in the next scenario, though. Certain special abilities may allow you to flip the card back over, allowing you to use it again. Some items require the player to add cards to their attack modifier deck. Items must be unique. Players are not allowed to own more than 1 of the same item. Every character also gets 2 random battle goal cards. Read them over and keep 1. Keep it a secret by placing it face down in front of you. The other one you can just put back in the box. Battle goal cards explain your objective and have a certain amount of check marks. If you successfully complete the scenario and successfully complete your goal card, you may be able to earn a character bonus called a perk. Use your character sheet to keep track. It has a space for your character's name, which you are free to create. Keep track of the level of your character, your experience, gold, and items. If you earn check marks from your battle goal card, mark an X for each check mark you earned. Once you get 3 X's, you can earn a perk. Every character is only allowed to have a maximum of 6 perks, and those perks are specifically tied to your character. Players will have a single party sheet for the group. If a new group of players should ever play together, you can create a new party sheet. Come up with the party's name and keep track of the current location of the party in the game, notes, and achievements. Achievements can be global or party achievements. If the scenario is successfully completed, the scenario may outline achievements earned. If it's a global achievement, place the achievement sticker on the game board map. This will change the world of the game permanently. As the story progresses, there may be things that come up that will reference the achievement and help you in the game. You'll just have to see. If a party achievement is earned, write it down on the party sheet to remember which ones you have. This may allow other scenarios to be played. The party sheet also has a reputation track, which may increase or decrease during the game. If it gets to 3 reputation, items become cheaper. If it gets to -3 reputation, items become more expensive. Reputation may allow players to open special envelopes. And other things in the game may tie back to reputation and possibly help you. Now, read the scenario in the book. Set up your board exactly how the map is depicted in the scenario. The map explains special tiles that will be used, where to put doors, what monsters you will encounter, and other tiles. So put those down where they go. In addition to showing where to place monsters, it will also show which monsters to use depending on the number of players. Black means the monster will not be used. White means it's a normal monster. And gold means it's a more advanced monster called Elite. The upper left should be looked at for 2 characters playing, the upper right for 3 characters playing, and the bottom for 4 characters playing. Randomly choose and use the numbered monsters. The number will correspond to when the monsters will take their turn, which you will see later. Put the money, damage, and other tokens down near the board. Place the element table with 6 different elements near the game as well. At the start of the game, it's important to only place the items in the starting room. If the door is open to the next room, you can then place the items in that room. If the next door is open to the next room, place things in that room following the map. Before starting the scenario, players have to decide on a scenario level. Do you want to play easy, normal, or more difficult? You have to choose this because things in this scenario will be directly tied to the scenario level. Things like monster's strength, how much damage a trap will inflict, how much money you can earn, bonus experience, and so on. Total all of the character levels of the characters playing, divide that by how many players, and then round up. That would be the normal scenario level. If you want easy, subtract 1. If you want hard, add 1. And if you want very hard, add 2. For example, if your character is level 1, another character is level 2, and another character is level 2, then 1 plus 2 plus 2 is 5. Divided by 3 players equals 1.67. Round that up, and that equals 2. So the normal scenario level would be 2. To play easy, the level would be 1. To play hard, the level would be 3. And to play very hard, the level would be 4. But be warned, the harder the scenario, the stronger the monsters will be. But you can earn more money and experience, so that's up to you. Once the scenario level is decided, you cannot change it during the scenario. So once you know the scenario level, you'll choose the right stat cards for each of the monster types you'll be encountering. You'll also need the ability cards for each monster type. Use the monster stats for the same level as the scenario. Put the monster stat cards in the monster card sleeves. The stat cards show the monster's name, stats for normal and elite, hit points, movement, attack, and range values. Range refers to how many spaces away monsters can attack. If the monster does not have range capabilities, you will see a dash for that value. This means the monster can do melee attacks. It can only attack characters next to them, rather than far away. The card also outlines any special abilities the monsters may have, and you'll see examples of that. Use the monster sleeve to remember how much damage characters inflict on which monsters. You'll also put down condition tokens here, which you'll see in a minute. Each monster type will have a corresponding ability deck, which you can place near their stat card. Use one general attack modifier deck for all of the monsters. You'll know the deck because it has an M on it. So put that near the monster cards. The starting room shows all of the spaces players can opt to start their characters, so that's up to you. Shuffle the city cards numbered 1 through 30. After the scenario is finished, whether it was a success or not, players discuss whether they want to travel back to Gloomhaven or not. If you do, one player draws a city card. But you don't have to. This is optional. Only one player draws a card, not all of the players. The card explains what to do, so follow that. Players discuss the card and decide what to do. Before starting your very first scenario, a player can draw a city card, but that's up to you. After completing a scenario, you're free to move on to the next scenario. You don't have to travel back to Gloomhaven, but you can. Visiting Gloomhaven is nice because you can create new characters, draw a city card, use your gold to purchase items and sell items. If you have enough experience, you can level up your character. You can also donate 10 gold to the sanctuary, allowing you to add 2 bless cards to your attack modifier deck. I'll talk about those later, but they're good. You can also enhance your ability cards if you have the global achievement, the power of enhancement. If your character completed their personal quest, you can announce their retirement. Make sure you check Gloomhaven's prosperity level on the game board. You can increase prosperity through various events and scenarios. Prosperity can affect many things, like making more items available for purchase, and even advancing your character level. If your character's level is below the prosperity level, you can bring your character level up to match. So make sure you know the prosperity level, as it could affect things throughout the game. Shuffle the road event cards, numbered 1 through 30. Before starting your first scenario, a player has to draw a road event card. You don't have to draw a road event if you're playing in casual mode. You're playing the same scenario again, or the scenario you're getting ready to play is linked to the scenario you just played. See the link text here? That means scenario 1 is linked to scenario 2, so you don't have to draw a road event. But if you ever complete a scenario, decide to travel back to Gloomhaven, and the next scenario you're going to isn't linked to Gloomhaven, you need to draw a road event. So, when you draw a road event, read the text and the 2 options. Players will then decide what to do as a group. After making a decision, read what happens. City cards tend to be more positive occurrences, while road events tend to be more negative. So that can be nerve-wracking. Now you're ready to play. Look at your ability cards. Remember, you're only allowed to have up to the limit of that character. Ability cards have the ability name, initiative number, a top action, and a bottom action. Choose 2 ability cards and place them face down in front of you. You will do the top action of 1 card, or the general action of attack 2, but not both. On the other card, you can do the bottom action, or the general action of move to, not both. So on your turn, you will have 2 actions. Decide which card will be your lead card. This means choosing an initiative. The initiative number refers to the order of turns, when your turn will happen. Players are not allowed to discuss specific actions or initiatives. But you can discuss general information, like, I'm going to try to attack that monster before it attacks me. Not, I'm going to attack that monster for 3 points of damage. Once all players choose 2 ability cards, for every monster type on the board, flip over one of the ability cards. Monster ability cards show the monster type, initiative, and actions. Now, players flip over their cards, and all initiatives are compared. If your lead card's initiative is the lowest, you will go first. If it's the highest, you will go last. For example, if you decide your lead card is the one with initiative 10, the other player decides theirs is 83, the archer is coming in at 32, and the living bones is 45. That means you will go first. The archer will go second, Living Bones third, and the other player will be last. Now all of the actions can be carried out. On your turn, decide which card you're going to start with and which action you're going to take, top or bottom. For example, if you start with moving up to 4 spaces, you can move through characters, your allies, but not enemies or walls. Monsters and characters cannot share the same space. If you move normal or are forced to move, there are various tiles on the map to be aware of. Once you land on a door, it will open. That room you just opened will trigger the placement of all of the things in that room, so follow the map and place things accordingly. If the room contains a new type of monster, draw that monster type's corresponding ability card. Then, compare all initiatives again to see who goes next. Turn orders may need to be rearranged. But you can finish your turn. If you should ever land on a corridor tile, nothing happens. They just connect map tiles to make one big room. Landing on a trap tile will cause damage. Damage is dependent on the scenario, so you'll just have to see what happens in those cases. Once damage is inflicted, the trap is removed from the board. If a figure has the flying or jump trait, movement can continue without triggering the trap. These traits allow figures to ignore other figures and terrain tiles. Continue with your move value. If you have the jumping ability, movement continues as normal, moving into your last hex. If you have the flying trait, you can ignore any figures and terrain tiles, but you must end up on an unoccupied space. If you move onto a hazardous tile, damage will be inflicted. That amount is equal to trap damage divided by 2, rounded down. After damage is inflicted, the tile stays on the board. It isn't removed. It's the same as a trap in regards to flying and jumping. No damage will occur. These represent difficult terrain. You must move 2 movement to enter these tiles, unless you can fly or jump. These are obstacles. The art is different on the tiles, but they all mean the same thing. You can't move through them unless you can jump or fly. Range attacks can still happen, but there still needs to be line of sight. Meaning you can draw a line from one corner of your hex to the corner of your enemy's hex without any walls. You have to be able to see. You have to loot treasure and money tokens. This means using a loot X action to do so. For example, with a loot 1, your character can loot all of the spaces 1 space away from the character. If you loot a treasure, the reward is a secret until you loot. Once you loot, you can look at the treasure reference to see what you earned. If your turn is over, and you happen to be on a space with money or treasure, you can loot that space. Now, do the top action of your other ability card. in this case, attack 2. This means the attack is melee. Remember, the attack still needs line of sight. This example means a range attack. You can attack an enemy 3 spaces away. An attack's value may change depending on a few things. An attacker's active ability cards, items, or other sources, and an attack modifier card. When attacking a monster, you have to draw 1 attack modifier card from your attack modifier deck. For example, if you attack for 2, but then you draw an attack modifier card, and the card is +1, 2 + 1 means you're now attacking 3. If you draw that card, it's a null. No attack will happen. Darn. Drawing that card will multiply the attack by 2, which is great. Know that at the beginning of the game, players start with a standard attack modifier deck of 20 cards. But perks you earn may allow you to alter that deck in some way. Some attacks may change and gain advantage or disadvantage. If you do a range attack, but the monster is right next to you, you will gain disadvantage. This means you have to draw 2 attack modifier cards and choose the worst one of the 2. Gaining advantage allows you to pick the better one of the 2 cards. Another thing that may change attack values is the defender's defense bonus, like a shield or other things. This monster has a shield of 2. So, if you attack this monster for 2, and you draw a +1 attack modifier card, so you're hitting the monster for 3, you really only hit the monster for 1 because the monster is blocking 2 of your attack. The ability to attack more than one monster is called an area effect. For each monster you attack, draw an attack modifier card. Red hexes mean those monsters will be attacked. If you see a gray hex, that means the attack type is melee, but you can still attack more than one monster. Attacks may have added effects, like push. Push 2 means pushing the enemy 2 spaces away from you. They can move through allies, not enemies. If they can't move, the push is invalid and won't happen. Pull means pulling the enemy closer to you that many spaces. Again, they can be pulled through their allies, not their enemies. And if they can't move, the pull is impossible. Push and pull ignore difficult terrain. Pierce means how many shield points the attack can overcome. For example, if you attack for 3 and pierce for 2, the monster has a shield of 2, and you draw a -1 attack modifier card. That means really you're attacking the monster for 2. Adding a target means adding an enemy to attack. But the range is really important. If the enemy is outside of the range of the targeted attack, then that enemy cannot be added and targeted. Some actions add things, called conditions. You can use the reference card to help remember what they do. For example, poison. If you attack an enemy with the added effect of poison, put the inflicted damage amount of tokens and a poison token on the corresponding monster on the monster sleeve. The sleeve number matches the number of the monster attacked. This helps remember health of monsters and conditions applied. Poison allows +1 to be added to an attack. The monster will have to heal to remove the poison token. Normally, healing means increasing health, but if it has poison, the poison token is removed and health does not increase. Wounding a figure causes a figure to lose 1 health on their next turn. Healing removes the wound token. Healing will also increase health, unlike poison. But if a figure has wound and poison, healing will only remove both tokens and not increase health. Immobilize means the figure cannot move. After the figure's next turn, the token is removed. Disarm means the figure cannot attack. After the figure's next turn, the token is removed. Stun means the figure cannot perform any actions. Stun characters cannot use any items. After the next turn, the token can be removed. If you are stunned, you still place 2 ability cards face down like normal, but you cannot take any actions. Just discard your ability cards after the round. You can opt to do a long rest, though, which I'll explain shortly. Muddle means the figure gains disadvantage. At the end of the figure's next turn, the token is removed. Curse means adding and shuffling in a curse card to what's left of the figure's attack modifier deck. The card can only be drawn 1 time. Once the card is drawn, it affects the attack and is removed from the deck. Make sure you use the right cards. M cards are for monsters, and star cards are for characters. Some conditions can have positive effects. For example, invisible. Being invisible means the enemy cannot attack that figure, and their actions will not affect that figure. Instead, the figure is considered an obstacle. At the end of the figure's next turn, the token is removed. Strengthen allows the figure to gain advantage on attack. At the end of the figure's next turn, the token is removed. Bless means adding and shuffling in a Bless card to what's left of the figure's attack modifier deck. This will multiply the attack by 2, which is really nice. The card can only be drawn 1 time. Once the card is drawn, it affects the attack and is removed from the deck. Some ability cards may say Retaliate. If a monster attacks you, you will deal a certain amount of damage back in retaliation. Some ability cards allow figures to heal. You may heal yourself or other characters unless the card says self. In that case, you can only heal yourself. Some abilities summon allies. If you summon an ally, place it next to your character in any one space. If there are no available spaces, you can't place the ally. There are 8 different tokens to choose from for your ally. They're kind of like another character, but just temporary. They aren't permanent. They have abilities, attack and move values, etc. If that ally is killed, the summoned ally ability card is used up, or you become exhausted, which I'll explain later. Then remove the ally from the board. On your next turn, after you summon an ally, the ally would go first, and then you. The ally will use your attack modifier deck as well. If on that turn you summon another ally, then on your next turn, the ally you summoned first would go first. The ally you summoned second would go next. And you would go last. The elements, including fire, ice, air, earth, light, and dark, can be used to make your actions stronger. If your ability card has an element icon, move the element to the strong column on the element track. If no figure consumes that element in the round, then the element is moved to the waning column. This means the element is about to go away. If no figure consumes that element on that round, the element is moved to inert. If an element is in the strong or the waning column, it can be used. The ability card will show an element symbol of a circle with an X. Using that element is referred to as consuming the element, and it will add something to your action. If the element is consumed, it gets immediately moved to inert. You can't infuse an element, meaning put it in play with one card, and consume that element with another card on the same turn. You have to wait until it's your turn again to consume the element. Other figures are free to use that element on their turn before it gets back to you. If you see that symbol on a card, it means any element. You pick. Cards may have this symbol, which means that when that action is complete, you will earn that amount of experience. You have to do at least one of the actions listed in that section on the card in order to gain that experience. You can't just put down the card and gain the experience. Make sure you always check your item cards during the game. You want to use them at the right time. You can use however many you want. Once you've used an ability card, notice any symbols in the corner. This symbol means once you've used that action, the card is lost. Put the card in the lost area of your character board. You can't use it from now on, however, some capabilities may allow you to get it back. If the card doesn't have a symbol, it just means the card gets discarded. Put the card in the discard area of your character board. If you want them back, you need to rest. If a card has this symbol, it means the action has a persistent bonus. Use a character token to keep track of how many times you use it. If the card has that symbol, it means you earn experience. When it's used up, follow the symbol on the card. You may lose it or you may have to discard it. This symbol means a round bonus. That action lasts for the entire round. Once the round is over, follow the appropriate steps, losing or discarding the card. If you decide to use the general top action of Attack 2 or the bottom action of Move 2, then ignore the symbols on the card and just discard it. Some ability cards allow you to get your ability cards or items back. The card will explain what to do and which things you can get back. This symbol means you can't get the card back. If you run out of cards or don't have enough to put 2 face down to play, then during that prepare card phase, you can announce a long rest. This means your initiative will automatically be 99, and on your turn, you won't be playing any cards. Instead, pick up all of the cards in your discard area. You have to look at them and choose one card to lose. You can also heal yourself for 2 hit points. All of your spent item cards can be refreshed and flipped back upright to use again. If your discard area only has 1 card, or no cards, then you can't long rest. In this situation, your character is exhausted and eliminated from the game. Remove the character from the game board. You're out of the scenario, but any other characters can continue playing as usual to try to complete the scenario. A monster's turn kind of plays out like characters, and players will carry out the monster's actions. But there are a few additional rules to follow. Follow the initiative order. Elite monsters of that type will go first, followed by normal monsters of that type. If there's more than one monster of that type, you must check the monster's number on the monster standee. In this example, there are 4 monsters of the same type. You want to start with the lowest numbered monster and work your way to the highest numbered monster. In this case, Elite 2 would go first, followed by Elite 3, then Normal 1, followed by Normal 4. Keep in mind, the monster sleeve matches the number of the monster. The monster's turn depends on the initiative number, and the card will explain the actions the monster can take. If there's an attack, then the monster will try to attack. If the card doesn't say attack, then the monster will not attack at all. The same goes for movement. If the card has a movement value, the monster will attempt to move. But if the card doesn't have a move listed, the monster will not move at all. Monsters want to attack and they want to be the most effective, focusing on characters by moving the least amount of spaces necessary. They want to get as close to a character as possible. If characters are tied for the closest to the monster will go for the character with the lowest initiative. If the monster ability card says move +1, then take the monster's stat card movement value and add 1 to that. If it says -1, that means subtract 1 from their base movement. And again, if the ability card doesn't say move, the monster will not move. Monsters don't want to move through traps, but if they have to, they will. Monsters want to get in position for the best possible attack. The same goes for cards that have attack +1. Take the monster's stat card attack value and add 1 to that. If it says attack -1, that means to subtract 1 from their base attack. And again, if the ability card doesn't say attack, the monster will not attack. Also remember that monsters can do things like fly and heal and summon, just like characters can. Some monsters may even loot, but they can't do end-of-turn looting, meaning they can't automatically loot money or treasure on the last space they end up on. Having a loot ability means monsters can pick up money, and that money is then lost for anyone to get. Monsters are not able to loot treasure. You may find yourself encountering a boss monster during the game. They're not considered elite or normal monsters, but something entirely unique. The stat card will explain how the monster functions. The letter C on a boss card stands for the number of characters in the scenario. Make sure you read the scenario and the boss card to ensure you're playing them right. If a monster's hit points should ever reach 0 or below 0, then that monster is killed. Remove the monster standee from the map. In their place, put 1 money token. However, monsters who are summoned or spawned, which can happen depending on the scenario, then don't place a money token in the space where they were when they died. After the round, it's time for the cleanup phase. Any ability cards you used should be discarded or lost, depending on the action you did. If you drew an attack modifier card, like ×2 or null, and it has this symbol, then shuffle the discard pile and the deck of modifier cards together to form a new deck. The same goes for monster ability cards. If any of them are drawn and have that symbol, the shuffle symbol, then shuffle the discard pile and the deck of ability cards together to form a new deck. If elements are in the strong column, move them into waning, and if any are in the waning column, move them to inert. At this point, players can decide if they want to do a short rest. To do so, pick up your discarded ability cards, give them a shuffle, and choose one randomly without looking. That card will be lost. If you really want to keep that card, you can lose 1 health and do it all over again. But you can only do this 1 time per short rest. Then you can continue playing with your other cards, but you have to lose 1. Some scenarios require players to know the number of the round. You can use the round track on the top of the element table. Whether you've successfully completed the scenario or not, you always finish the round. Experience, money from looting, and treasure from looting will still be gained. Remove any bless or curse cards from decks in which they were added. It doesn't matter if you've successfully completed your battle goal card or not. If you fail the scenario, you didn't complete your battle goal. All items and ability cards can be used again for the next scenario. If you successfully complete the scenario, it doesn't matter if your character became exhausted along the way. If you successfully completed your battle goal card, you earn the check marks on that card. You will gain any rewards from the scenario, money looted, treasure looted, and experience. You'll also gain some bonus experience. It's the scenario level times 2 and add 4. Use your character and party sheet to keep track of everything and remember what happened, like what you and your party earned. If you unlock a new scenario, place the corresponding sticker on the game board map. Once the scenario is over, players can discuss what to do from there, like perhaps going back to Gloomhaven. If you're interested in playing solo or other ways to play the game, the rulebook outlines information for that, as well as more specific rules you can dive in and explore yourself as you play scenarios. But this video certainly contains lots of information for you. If you've enjoyed watching, subscribe and click the bell icon to be notified when I post a new video. You can follow me on Twitter and Facebook at Dibs On Blue Games. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them below and I will gladly respond. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.